And there we go. Welcome. So, our theme for March has been learning to listen to the wisdom of the body, the breath, the mind. And today we're focusing on the mind. So, how often do we ignore our intuition, our innate wisdom? As we become more firmly rooted in our body and breath through our practice, we begin to have access to the inner workings of the mind, which is not, in fact, separate from the body or the breath. As we cultivate a relationship with our bodies and with our breath, we become a witness to the stories, thoughts, and emotions of the mind. We begin to realize we are not our thoughts, we are not our emotions, we are not our stories, but we have only fleeting opportunities to find the witness. With practice, we can touch our inner wisdom more and more for longer periods through greater distractions. So let's cultivate curiosity as a way of breaking through our assumptions. When a sensation is noticed, become curious about it before labeling it pain or pleasure. As thoughts arise, notice that, step back, and become curious about the story your thoughts tell. Our curiosity can bring us back to our sense of wonder and awe and reconnect us with the wisdom and intuition that have always been there. Take a comfortable seat for some breath practice. Sitting up tall with an elegant spine. Feeling your connection to the earth beneath you. How your body rises up into the spaciousness above you. Noticing your sensory environment. What do you feel beneath your feet, your seat, beneath your fingertips? What are the sounds that you hear in your space? Can you identify sounds a little further away? Noticing the light, the air moving. Maybe you're chilly today, or it's warm in your space. And then begin to bring your attention more deeply inward to your own breath, feeling the sensation of breath moving through the body. Where do you notice the breath first? Is it at the tip of your nose, your nostrils, or in the back of your throat, in your chest or belly? Take a moment and choose one spot to focus on and notice the sensation of breath as it enters and exits the body from that one place. And now begin to bring your breath into heart center, breathing right in to the cave of the heart. Allow the breath to fill the space. Then begin to move the breath as it comes in through heart center. Draw it all the way up to the third eye, that point between your eyebrows and the middle of your forehead. As you inhale, draw the sensation of breath from heart center up to the third eye. As you exhale, release that energy back to the heart and out. Breathing between the heart and the third eye. Stay with this for several more breaths. And then release the breath control and come back into your natural breath, releasing, relaxing, and feeling the echo of the breath practice. And we'll continue together with our sun breaths. Inhaling, floating your arms up, palms up. Exhale, turn palms down. Allow the arms to float down. Feeling the movement of the breath through the movement of the body, the opening and the releasing. Feel your shoulder blades moving on your back. Allow the shoulders to be heavy and not engaged. 2 more. Connecting movement and breath. Last one. And this time we'll lower the right and come up and over with the left, staying for several breaths, maybe 2 or 3. And then using an inhale to come up and over to the other side. And take your time moving side to side, adding 1 or more breaths, beginning to expand in the side body, creating some space in the waist, in between the ribs, and even up into the armpit. We'll do maybe 1 more each side. And the next time you come through center, pause here. We're going to work with with a mudra of finger position and hand movement. So I'll show you and then we'll figure it out together. So with one hand, let's say with your left, make this circle, bringing your index finger to the center of your thumb pad and then closing that circle. So this is a mudra, a hand gesture. And we're going to work with one hand that's flat and one hand that has the mudra, okay? So we're going to extend the stop hand as you draw the mudra hand towards heart center. And then we'll switch and the other hand becomes the stop hand and you make the mudra with the other hand. And switch. And switch. And switch. Can we do it a little bit faster? And now we're going to reverse it and we'll press the mudra forward, bring the flat hand towards your heart, and switch, and switch, and switch. This is a little bit like chewing gum and walking, or rubbing your tummy and patting your head. 2 more. And release and shake that out. Inhale your arms out to the side, palms up, and bend your elbows, bring your fingertips to the tops of your shoulders. Let's begin to circle. Now you can feel your shoulder blade going all the way around your ribs. Reverse direction. Reverse again, this time 1 at a time. Infinity elbows or shoulders, I don't know which. And reverse one at a time. Alternating, I guess, is a better way to say that. And shake that out. And we'll make our way to tabletop, hands and knees. Take your time and make sure that you have the padding that you need to make your knees comfortable. And when you find your table position, find a long spine, knees underneath your hips, hands, knuckles, or forearms underneath your shoulders. Find a nice long spine. Take just a few breaths here. And then we'll move into cat and cow. Inhale here and exhale. Tuck your tail, draw your belly in, and release your head. As you inhale, lift your tail, soften the belly, and raise the crown. And keep it going. We use the movement of the pelvis to initiate this ripple up the spine. The head, the neck are an extension of the spine. Use these warm-ups as a way of noticing what's happening in your body, what's happening with your breath, and even what's happening with your thoughts and emotions. The next time that you come through neutral, pause here. We'll extend the left leg. Maybe at hip height, you can always bring your toes down, pressing out through the heel. Try not to open the hip. Try to keep it nice and level. So I could come, if we were in the same room, and I could put a teacup on your sacrum and it wouldn't spill. Stay here, building strength, or add the opposite reach. A little balance with our strength. And we'll hold for 3 and 2 and 1. Release down, wag your tail, come back to stillness. Extending the right leg. Find your position first. Get strong in the belly and the core, and then add the balance aspect if you're moving to that part. Holding for 3 and 2 and 1. Hands and knees down. Bring your toes together. Maybe your knees walk out a little wider so that you can drop your hips towards your heels and allow your forehead to come down towards the mat. If the floor is far away, try stacking your hands or maybe your fists, or even having a pillow or a blanket right underneath the edge or a block so that you can press that area of the third eye against the earth. As you breathe here, feel the engagement or the lighting up of this center of your intuition, this third eye. This pressure against the third eye stimulates our connection to our innate wisdom. 3 more breaths in this position. Expanding with the inhales, connecting with the exhales. And after the third breath, walk your hands back. And we're going to make our way up to standing. If you have a chair or blocks or a wall, you can use that to make the transition, stepping up and using the support to come all the way up. Take a moment to find your Tadasana or mountain pose. Feet are about hip distance apart. Maybe bring your hands to your hips, gently rocking forward and back, shifting the weight. And then find a place of balance between heels and toes. Maybe rock side to side. And again, find that strong foundation for this standing pose. Let's inhale and reach up. Maybe you look up to see your palms come together. And exhale, bring them to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Maybe you look up. This time, bring your thumbs right to the third eye. And then to heart center. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, awareness here and awareness of the heart. Reach your arms down, fingers active. Lift up your kneecaps, make your legs active. Reach up through the crown of the head. Check your balance, where you're shifted, forward, back, side to side. Standing up nice and tall. Looking ahead, find your drishti, your focal point. We're going to work with crane to crescent right now. So we'll inhale, shifting weight into the left leg, the right comes up, and we find our crane. As we step back on the exhale, the ball of the foot comes down, the front knee bends, and we reach our arms up. Inhale, come back to crane. I'm going to scooch up a little. And then exhale, again, step back to crescent. Two more times on this side. Inhale up and exhale back. Just the ball of the foot comes down. Inhale up, eyes on your focal point, and exhale back. Last time, step up to crane and hold for 3 and 2 and 1. Release down, come to stillness. Walk it out if you need to. And then pause once again, and we'll move to the other side. Inhale to crane. Exhale, step back, ball of the foot comes down, the front knee bends, reach up, crescent. Inhale up to crane, and exhale to crescent. 2 more times. Inhale up, and exhale back. Last time, inhale up, and exhale back. And step up once more to crane, and release down. Shake it out. Okay, so we're going to work with another sequence, moving between tree and warrior 3. Now, I highly recommend using a chair or a sturdy piece of furniture, or you can also use the wall. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways how this looks. So I'll start first facing you. Let me demonstrate, and then we'll do this together. So I'm going to find my Tadasana, hand on my chair. The leg that's closest to the chair is going to come up into my tree pose. Pause for a breath, and I'm going to turn my knee forward and reach my toes behind me, kind of like the crescent. You can stay there, maybe extending a single arm, or begin to come forward, hinging just at the hip, long spine, to somewhere between, here, let me turn sideways now. So I was here in tree, and then I step back. This is, I think, called stick pose. And then if you keep coming forward, hinging at the hip, let the standing knee bend a little bit. And you can come into a version of warrior 3. We'll stand back up right to tree, and then we'll come into warrior 3 again. Okay? So find your support. If you're at the wall, just fingertips on the wall. You may have to walk your fingers as you go. I have the chair on my right side, standing up nice and tall in your Tadasana. Hand on your support. The leg closest to your support is the moving leg. Bring it up into your tree pose. You could bring your one hand to heart center if you'd like. Then draw the knee forward, press back, maybe the toes come down, find your stick pose, and then decide if you'd like to come a little further forward, maybe bending at the knee, but hinging at the hip, no rounding of the spine. Inhale, back to tree, and exhale to warrior three. You can just come to stick or to warrior three. One more time, inhale to tree, and exhale, stick or warrior three. Inhale and come to Tadasana. It's hard to do that and say it at the same time. Take a moment, shift around so that you can work with the other side. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll turn sideways for this one. Finding your Tadasana. Now I have my left leg closest to the chair. My hand is on the chair. I'm going to step into my standing leg, the right leg, and then bring my left to tree pose. Inhale here, and then exhale. The knee comes forward and reaches back. Top arm reaches forward, maybe stick pose. Hold here or begin to hinge forward, long spine. Let your standing knee bend if you're coming into warrior three. Inhale all the way up to tree pose. Exhale to stick or warrior three. One more time. Tree pose and stick or warrior three. Inhale all the way up to Tadasana. Bring your hands to heart center and take a couple of breaths. Beautiful, beautiful work. So next, we're going to come down onto our bellies. Now, it is helpful if you have low back issues or if you have discomfort or surgeries in your chest area to bring a cushion or blanket underneath your belly and hips. I'll demonstrate what that looks like here. So coming down, I'm going to bring this right underneath my hips, and it creates a little bit of space. Coming onto your elbows, this is Sphinx pose. So take a moment here, maybe rock your hips from side to side, and decide if you're comfortable, if you need a cushion, or if you need less of a cushion than you've chosen. And you may stay right here in Sphinx. If this is too much lift, you can walk your hands forward, and it lessens the angle that you're lifting. And if it would feel comfortable, bring your elbows out to the side and allow your forehead to come down to your stacked hands or fists. If this is not comfortable, that's fine. Come back to your Sphinx pose. If you're coming into crocodile, again, feel that connection of the third eye point to the floor, to your hands or your fists. And we'll take 3 breaths. And after your third, if you're in crocodile, make your way into Sphinx. In Sphinx pose, our forearms and hands are pressing down, and we're imagining we could slide them back, but without sliding, so that we can send our heart forward between our shoulders, stretching through the chest and strengthening the back. From here, see if you can just gently kick your legs. Stay with this, or take your right hand across so that it's parallel with the short edge of your mat. Bend your left foot up and reach your left arm back. Just see if you can touch your heel, or maybe grab your pants leg or your ankle, but just reaching is perfectly appropriate. Opening up across the shoulder, strengthening the back, stretching the front of the hip. One more breath. And then come back to your Sphinx. Maybe rock your hips from side to side. Feel free to stay here again with the kicks, or bring your left arm across. This is just for some support. Bending the right leg and reaching the right arm back. Now I can reach my foot more easily on this side, so I'm going to grab my foot or my ankle and press my foot into my hand to help me open my shoulder on this side. It's a little bit of a twist. It's a little bit of a chest opener. And it's a little bit of a stretch for the front of the body, like the hip flexors. One more breath. And come back to your Sphinx pose. Rock your hips from side to side. And then press into your hands and make your way once more into child's pose. Resting your head, connecting your third eye to the ground beneath you. Take several breaths, stretching out the work of the back body in our prone position. We'll be moving next onto our backs. So when you're ready, roll onto your back. You can draw your knees into your chest if that feels good. And then coming all the way down, bringing your feet to the ground, about hip distance apart. So feet and knees are about hip distance apart. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, pollen. Maybe the rain will help. And take a moment just to feel the length of your spine along the ground. Allow your hips to be heavy, your shoulders, your feet, and the back of your head. We're going to be working with a little bit of bridge, so please remove anything underneath your head if that's possible. We'll start with a pelvic tilt, inhaling here. Exhale and flatten the curve of your back, pressing the small of your back down. As you inhale, release that press and let that natural curve come back. Exhale and press. Inhale, release the press. We'll do it 2 more times. Exhale and press. Inhale, lift, last time. Come to stillness. Make sure that your feet are close to your bottom and still hip distance apart. Hands at your sides, palms down. Inhale, as you press into your feet, lift your hips an inch or more off of the mat. Exhale and slowly lower your hips back down. Inhale, press into your feet. Maybe you come up a little bit higher, maybe not. And exhale, release down. You can stay with this lift and lower, or inhale and lift up. Hold for a breath. Exhaling, inhaling again, and then exhaling and lowering down. Stay with either or any of this sequence for another few breaths, either working with a pelvic tilt, working with a small bridge, working with a larger bridge, or holding in bridge for one or more breaths. Take your time. Use the support of your arms and hands against the floor. And when you feel complete with this practice, allow your hips to come back down to the mat. Maybe you hug your knees in once more and rock. And then slowly lower one foot and then the other, and walk your feet out a little wider towards the edges of your mat, the side edges. We'll begin just some gentle windshield wipering with your knees, letting them move from side to side. If this feels okay, the next time that your knees drop to the right, let them be heavy there. Maybe turn your head to the left. If you'd like, this is certainly not necessary, you can bring your right foot onto your left knee. And we'll stay for a few breaths in this twist. If it feels uncomfortable, please come out. And on your next inhale, release your foot from the other knee if it's there, and come up through center. Maybe rock a little bit from side to side. Shift so I'm away from the wall. And then allow your knees to drop to the left. Maybe your head turns to the right. Stay right here, or go back to an earlier version, or bring your left heel onto your right knee. This just increases the twist, deepens the stretch. Wherever you are, we'll hold for just a few breaths. On your next inhale, remove your foot if it's on your knee, and then lift your knees up to center, and maybe just a couple of side to side if you've been holding. We're going to come in to some side lying work. And it's helpful to have something underneath your head. Maybe it's a folded blanket or a cushion or a pillow, but nothing too high, just something that can support your head as you roll onto your side. Now, this is hard to do with my headphones, my AirPods, so forgive me if you hear them scratching. Actually, maybe I'll just take that one out. Okay, so lying on your side with your knees and hips bent at 90 degrees. If this is uncomfortable, you can always put a pillow or a block between your knees to give you a little support for your top leg. So this is our starting position. And from here, we're going to do a variety of arm movements that will open up this way. And the idea is to keep the hips and the knees in place, and then the upper body moves. So it's sort of like a twist, but Instead of twisting, having our back flat and moving our legs, we're doing the opposite. So first version, extend your arms out in front of you, palms together. We'll inhale and raise your top arm. When it gets right over your shoulder, allow your shoulder to go with it as you open. Maybe you roll to the back of your head. I'm allowing my elbow to bend because I have the wall here, but just go as far as feels comfortable, feeling a nice opening. We're not going to stay here. Exhale and come back to your starting position. So a few more like this. Inhale and open. Roll to the back of your head. Allow your arm to open to comfort and stretch. Exhale and return. Now you can stay with that version. The next version is sort of a bow and arrow version. So your bottom arm stays in place and your top arm, bend your elbow and draw it back as if you're pulling back on a bow. Same idea when you get to this spot over your shoulder, let your shoulder open and roll to the back of your head. Maybe your elbow will come towards the floor or not. And then exhale and return to your starting position. So take your time with one of those versions and move with your breath, exhaling to close and inhaling to open. Take your time. We'll do about 3 more like this. And this or the next time that you come back to your starting position, just pause here. So the last version, which again is optional, is to take your top hand and touch the mat, the floor, and begin to trace a rainbow up over your head. When you get right overhead, allow your shoulder to open. Maybe you roll to the back of your head. Maybe you can come all the way around and maybe not. When you get to your stopping point, reverse direction and come back to your starting position. Inhale and trace a rainbow. Maybe when you get here, you need to lift your arm up. You can do that if it's comfortable. And then when you come back around, find your place where you can continue tracing your rainbow. So take another 3 breaths with any of those versions, including the rainbow. And if it would feel good on this or the next time that you come around, pause in place. Maybe turn your head to look away from your knees, allowing both your shoulders to come down to the mat. This may not be possible for you, but if it is, enjoy it. If not, keep moving. Don't hold yourself hanging above the ground. And we'll all end coming back to our starting position. So take another few breaths to complete your practice on this side, and then we'll reverse direction. And when you're ready, roll onto your back and then over to the other side. Get yourself set up with something under your head, maybe something between your knees, hips and knees at 90 degrees for lots of stability. Bring your arms out in front of you and begin when you're ready to inhale and open with the other arm. When you come through that sort of midline over your shoulder, allow your shoulder to open. Maybe you roll to the back of your head. When you're ready, you exhale, roll back to your starting position. So the lower body stays in place and the upper body moves, but just move to your comfort. stay with the opening version or try the bow and arrow, pulling back using the elbow to lead. Same idea though, roll to the back of your head, open your shoulder if it's comfortable. Maybe 2 or 3 more with whichever version you are enjoying working. And when you're ready, come to rest for a moment on your side, and we will add in, if you'd like, the rainbow version. You can stay with any of the versions that you enjoy most, or none. Roll to your back and rest. So if you're going to do the rainbow, arms are extended. Allow your top fingertips to come to the floor and then begin to trace that rainbow up over your head. When you come to that place over your shoulder, let your shoulder open. Maybe you can keep tracing, or maybe you have to lift your arm. When you're ready, come back and trace that semicircle of the rainbow overhead. Take your time working with any of these versions and perhaps coming into a hold on one side. I recommend, if you can't put both shoulders down, that you don't hold in place. Too much pressure. And when you are complete with this practice, come onto your back and draw your knees in, and we'll continue together. So if you're on your back, holding onto your knees, rock from side to side, and then come to rest in the center, holding onto your right knee. Allow your left foot to come down. Maybe you keep your knee bent, and maybe as you're pulling the right knee in, you can extend the left leg along the mat, pressing out through your heel. Keep drawing one side in as you reach away with the other, and then draw the extended leg back in, hug both knees in, and switch sides. Holding on to the left, bringing the right down, or extending the leg and feeling a nice stretch in your hips. Take your time moving side to side. Sometimes people hold for a long time, and sometimes they keep switching side to side. It makes it a little bit more of a core exercise when you do that. And when you're complete with this process, draw your knees in one last time. And then take a moment to decide if there's any other pose or set of or series of poses that you'd like to take to complete your practice. Maybe some figure 4 or happy baby. Maybe some more twist, although we did quite a bit. Take your time and begin to complete your practice. We have about 2 more minutes. And when you are complete with this effort, build yourself a comfortable position to rest. Supporting the knees, maybe legs up on a chair or the wall. Maybe you'd like to lie on your side, curled up, or flat on your back with your feet and arms extended. Wherever you wind up, allow yourself to be heavy, releasing into the support of the earth beneath you. Use your breath to help you, pardon me, help you let go a little bit more with each exhale. And now bring your attention right to that third eye place. It's been well stimulated through our practice. And again, imagine just for a few breaths that you can breathe, sorry, from heart to third eye, and then exhale from third eye through the heart. Stay with this breath until you'd like to release it and rest. takes only a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still, and just like that, something in me settles, softens, makes space for imperfection. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper, and I remember again that life isn't a relay race, that we will all cross the finish line, that waking up to life is what we were born for. As many times as I forget, catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I'm going, that many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe and be, and walk slowly into the mystery. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements into fingers and toes. And when you feel ready, you can roll to one side and pause, and then press into your hands to slowly make your way back up to sitting. Allow your attention to stay deeply inward for another moment or two. We'll seal our practice with one chant of Om for the community that we create when we practice together. Bringing hands, pardon me, to heart center, we'll inhale together. Om Shanti, peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and with each other.